Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. So I'm Shubham and you're watching Let's Create an App. So in this video we are going to talk about how we can create a slide up animation. So let's look into the demo and then we will discuss about this thing. So this is the demo and in this I am having our menu button. So as I click on this menu button, there is a slide up which is coming from the bottom with some black view. So this is a cool animation which we can use in any applications to enhance the user experience. We can use these kind of small animations many places, so this will give a better user experience to any person who is using this application. And we can use this kind of scenario anywhere in the application. And this is the programmatical table view which I've already taught you in the previous video. So if you didn't watch that video, please watch that video. I also tell each and everything in this video also, so you can stay continue with this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button to get all this kind of cool iOS stuff. Let's start the video. Let's create an app. So open an Xcode, click on single view application, click on next, and give the name whatever you want to give. I'm just giving slide up animation, simply like this, and be sure the language should be Swift. Click on next and create this project where you want to create this project. So our project is created. Now we have to move to our view controller, and as we see in our demo application, that first we need to define this transparent view, a blackish transparent view which is coming at the back of this table view. So for that we have to define one property over here of UI view type. So let's create like let transparent view is equals to UI view, something like this. And now we have to set the frames of this UI view, or we need to create one button so that on the click of that button we can add this transparent view on the sub view. So for that first we have to move to the view controller, and in this view controller we have to get the navigation bar so that we can add a button as we have in a demo application on the navigation controller or the navigation bar. So this is our navigation controller and with the navigation bar over here. Now let's add one button over here. So simply write button, or you can also use UI bar button item over here like this. You can also use a bar button item over here. So it's up to you totally that what you want to add over here, a bar button or a simple button. I'm just using a simple button. You can also take this like outlet from here. Now let's create the action for this button. So on click menu, I'm just changing the title for this button in later on. Just click on action, and now let's change the title for this button. So like over here menu. So the color of this title should be in black, and it is like a bold with a little bit 17 font. Now we can do one more thing, like change the color for this background view to the color which I am having in the application, so it looks similar with the demo application. Now we have to add this transparent view on the click of this button with some alpha, with the some background alpha. So for that we have to simply define first background color for this transparent view. So like transparent view dot background color is equals to UI color dot, and in this we have one simple, that is a black thing. And now we can also define the alpha continuously with alpha element, with alpha component kind of a thing. So by using this method we only have to define the float kind of a value for defining the alpha. So I am using 0.9 for the alpha thing. So this will provide us the a little bit dark color in the black, a transparent dark color in the black. Now we have to set the frames for this transparent view. So transparent view dot frames, and as we know we have to set this transparent view on the whole screen. So for that we will use self dot view dot frames. So we are providing the view frames to this transparent view. Now we have to simply add this transparent view on the sub view. So self dot view dot add sub view, and in this sub view we have to add the transparent view. So we have just added this transparent view on the click of this button. Now let's run and check that it is working fine or not. So simply just select the iPhone 8 because iPhone 8 is simulator is running in my system already. So I don't need to waste time on installing that new simulator again. So the simulator 8 is running and it's loaded. Now let's click on this menu, and as I click on this menu the color is loaded, but this navigation bar is still visible, and this color is not looking good. I need to some reduce the uh, alpha, as well as we need to make this navigation bar also moves background from this transparent view. So for that we need to add this sub view on window. So for adding a sub view on window, first we need to create one variable of window. So for that creation of variable, just simply write let window is equals to and for getting the window you need to write UI application dot shared dot key window. So by doing this we are able to get the key window of the application. Now add this transparent view on this key window rather than on this view. So just remove this code self.view and add over here window like this, simply like this. So now it will add it on the window, and for this transparent view color let's reduce this to 0.8, and now let's run this thing again and check that it is working fine or not. So this is, so far we are added this transparent view at the background, and now the navigation bar is also completely covered with this transparent view, and it's completely looking cool now. uh, but there is one more problem, that now it's not going back on the normal position as we click on this transparent view. So first we need to add the tab gesture on this transparent view. So for adding the tab gesture on this transparent view, we need to create one tab gesture. So for creating a tab gesture we need to write let tab gesture is equals to UI tab gesture and tab gesture recognizer, and in this tab gesture recognizer we need to use this method, and in the target we need to define self, and in the selector, or we can see that action, in this action we need to define the selector as hash selector, and in this selector we need to pass the method name which will be called whenever user use this tab gesture. So the name is on click tab gesture on click back transparent view, sorry, transparent transparent view, something like this. And now we need to add this tab gesture on this this transparent view. So transparent view dot add gesture recognizer, and in this gesture recognizer we used to define tab gesture, something like this. Now we have to define this method below over here with using objective c reference, so at the rate objc, and we need to write function and just paste this thing like this, simply like this. So we are just define this tab gesture over here. So whenever we click on this uh, transparent view or that little bit black view, it will call this method. So whenever we call this method we need to just change the alpha from here, and then again change the alpha of this transparent view over here. So let's do that thing like transparent view dot alpha is equal, so initially we will define the alpha to 0.5, and whenever user click on this transparent view dot alpha is equals to 0, so whenever user click again on this transparent view the alpha will become again 0. So this will give us a effect of just adding and removing thing on this, the simply like this, and we are getting a proper effect. But still we are not getting the animation which we have something in our demo application. So this is a demo application, so this black view is added on the screen with some animation. So for getting that kind of animation we need to first move this thing at the top like this, and for getting this kind of animation, first let's make this alpha 0, and we will change the alpha in that animation code. So for animation UI view dot animate, and in this we need to add that method which we have, I guess this one, which we having this physical spring, this one. And in this method we have to define the duration, and the duration is 0.5, and the delay is 0. And in this using spring with dumping, this will give a bumping effect on our animation. So this is 1.0, and the initial spring velocity means the initially animation perform little bit faster, and as it move in the end of the time it will become a little bit slow. So this is also 1.0. And in the option we are using curve is and out. This is a very really cool animation, we will talk about a little bit later. And in the animation block we have to change the transparent view alpha is equals to 0.5. so initially the alpha of the transparent view is 0, and it will now become 0.5 in the animation block. So till now we are just animating this thing, and in the completion block we will provide nil over here. Now when we talk about on this transparent view, so let's run and check that it is working fine or not first, and then we will talk about when the click of this button it will automatically remove that thing with animation also. So it will now presenting this or just coming this thing with a little bit animation, and as we click on this transparent view it will remove back without animation. So for that let's uh, make this thing also in animation. So for that you have to simply write this thing like UI view.animation, just simply we have done either previously. And in this we have to use this spring physical spring method like this, and the interval is same 0.5, the delay is 0, this is 1.0, this is also 1.0. I've already told you about this thing. And in this option we have to use that curve is out, is in out. And in the animation block we have to change this transparent alpha, cut this thing and paste over here. And in the completion block we will define null over here. So we are done now, and it is little bit not looking cool, so let's make it to 0.9 again, and we need to define self over here. Yeah, now let's check and look that we are able to get this transparent view not or not. So we are able to get this transparent view with the proper animation. Now we need to add the table view on this transparent view to get it work properly. So for adding the table view on this transparent view we need to create one more variable, and in this we are going to create a table view totally programmatically. No storyboard is required in this thing. You can also use storyboard, but I didn't recommend to use that thing. And if you don't know how to create a table view programmatically, please watch my previous video. The link of the video is mentioned in the description, and the whole video is completely dedicated to a specific topic, how we can create a table view dynamic kind of a thing. So just simply define the this variable over here. Now we have to set the frames for this table view first, and just like we have done this transparent view also. So for that I'm just adding this thing over here because we need to manage the code according to this scenario kind of a thing. So for first we need to set the frames for this table view. So table view dot frames is equals to, for providing the frame we are using cgrect, and in this cgrect we have to find this method in which we have to parse the x, y, z and height and width. And in this x we are defining from 0, and y is the position from this vertical axis, and it will equal to the height of the total screen, means it will coming at the end of the screen, maybe it's not visible at that moment. So for that we need to first find the height of the screen. So for that thing just create let screen size is equals to ui screen dot main dot bounds dot size, simply like this. So for here we can use screen size dot height, so it will make the y-axis at the bottom, at the most bottom at the end, and the width is just like screen size dot width, this the width of the screen. and the height is just like the height of the table view is depend on the number of the cells we have in the table view. So for example, right now in the demo we are only having a 5 cells, so we can define a height of 250, 50 height for each cell. But if you have a height of table view which having a more cells, like 10, 20 cells, 50 cells, so you can make it height according to your need, even with the respect to the screen size also. So it's up to you what kind of height you want to provide to this table view. So I'm just taking one variable over here, and let height is equals to 250. I'm just trying to make this thing 250 because or we can say the height over here, because my one cell is just of 50 height and I'm having a 5 cell, so 55 is a 250, so that's why I'm just providing over here. So it's showing an error that cannot invoke left CG rect. Okay, fine. It's kind of a CG float, and we need to make this a thing CG float type like this. And I guess this error should be gone now. Still, this error is there. Oh, CG font, CG float like this. So now the error is gone here. Now we need to add this table view on window as well. So for adding this table view on window, just simply write window dot add subview, and in this we have to pass table view, simply like this. So by doing this, we are added this table view on the this window. Now we have to add this table view animation also in this animation method. So in the transparent view, we have to add this self dot table view dot frames. Now we need to change the frames. So changing frames means it will come from bottom to a little bit up. So for doing that thing, we need to provide a CG rect again, like this CG float, and in the X position, for X we need to define 0. So for Y position it will be changed. Initially it was at the height, like at the bottom. Now we have to move this a little bit up, 250 pixels up from the bottom. So for that we need to first use the screen size over here. So screen size dot height. So by doing this, we are able to get the height of the screen. Now we are just minus the height which we have taken for the table view. So it will move this table view 250 pixels above from the bottom, and the width is just same as the screen size dot width, and the height of this table view is 250 as we have previously defined, or we can say that height. Yeah, we have a variable for that thing. So this is all done. We are able to add this thing in the table view. It's showing an error. We need to provide a self. Similarly, self over here, something like this. So we are successfully added a table view on the click of this button, and now we have to remove this table view on the click of the transparent button. So for removing this thing, we have to change the frames for this table view again to back to the normal. So table view dot frames is equals to CG rect, and in this we have to pass this method, so 0, and this is like screen size. Oh sorry, screen size is not available over here. So first let's make it a screen size over here, and this is the screen size. Just copy this thing over here, and now screen size will be available dot height, and the width is screen size dot width, and the height is like self dot height, like this. So it's completely fine now. We can also provide 0 over here. We don't need to provide a height over here. It's up to you. You can provide, or you can provide a 0 over here also. So now let's run and check that it is working fine or not. I guess it will get crashed because it didn't provide the data source and delegate to this table view. So I guess it will get crashed. it will not get it didn't get crashed, but it will provide a cool animation which we have as simply in our demo. So let's look the demo also. So this is a demo and it is completely looking cool. So till so far we are able to create a programmatical table view as well as this animation, complete animation, and with this table view. So now we need to add a custom cells to this table view and supply the data in this table view also. So for that, first we need to create one table view class, table view cell class. So for table view cell class, just press Ctrl plus N, and now we need to click on next, and just there is a UI table view cell type of a subclass, and the name of this is a custom table cell. Just simply like this, you need to create this thing. Now we need to move to the custom table cell class, and we need to we will having three properties just like in our demo application. This is not a demo, this is the demo. So we are having a two properties just like an image and a title. So let's design this thing. And in the previous video I've designed a table view, complex table view with multiple things just like an image or 2-3 labels with a different complex framing, all these things. So you can go and check that video also for more references. Now let's design this cell and the properties on this cell. So for designing, let's move to the class, and now we have to as we see in the demo, that we have a little bit a white color background, an image, and a this title. So for first we have to define this background view. So we are using lazy keyword. I've already mentioned what is lazy. You can also go and check the previous videos. In that video I've already mentioned what is lazy. So back view, and in this back view is a type of a UI view, something like this. And now we need to create this thing, let view is equals to UI view, and this we have to use this method, and cgrect we have to provide the coordinates and cgrect to this UI view. Now we need to provide the rects, so the rects are 0 0, and the width is whatever width the self this cell has or this table view has, so self dot frames dot width, and the height of the cell is just like 50, so the height of the view is also 50, remains 50. Now we have to return this view, return view. You can also change more properties of this, just like change the color for this view or something else. It's up to you how much customization you are required in this thing. Now we have to make image which having a just like in the demo. So I'm just giving a name to setting image, UI image view, kind of a this thing. Now we have to create one property over here, that is let image image view is equals to UI image view, and now we need to provide the cgrect over here, and again cgrect. So now from X it will take a 15 pixel. It's up to you from X what pixels you want to provide. If you want to move that image a little bit right hand side, then you can provide X more. If you want to move that image a little bit left side, then you can provide a less X. It's all totally up to you. So now what is the Y position? So Y position, I just want to take that image from top 10 pixels, so just 10, and the width and height of the image is just like 30 and 30. So it's start from top 10, and its height and width is 30, like from top 30 and then 30 height, and the left space is only 10 pixels. So the image is always come in the center, because the height of the cell is 50, which we have defined over here, as well as we will define using delegate. So it's completely pure mathematics, you need to use that thing. Now we have to define the image view content mode. Content mode is equals to dot aspect fit like this. Now we need to return this image view simply like this. Now one more thing, that is a label. So simply same thing, lazy where label, something like this, and it is of UI label type, like this. And in this label, simply we again used to define the same thing, let uh, label is equals to UI label, and in this thing we have to define the cgrect, and in the cgrect we have to again define the same method, this one. So the x position is a little bit tricky, just like we already have defined the image 15 pixels from the x, so we have to remove this 15 pixels from the width as well as the 30 pixels of width of an image. So the total space from left is 45. Now we need to add a little bit more space so that it will be clear visible. So for that seek I am just adding 10 pixels or 20 pixels space more. So just like I'm using 60 pixels from the x, and the y position is like 10, and the width of the label should be lesser than the width of the cell, even 60 pixels less, because it's already started from 60 pixels from the x. So self dot frame dot width minus 80. So 60 pixels from the x and 20 pixels from the trailing. So this will provide a proper width to this label, and the height of this label should be 30, simply like this. Now we will need to return this label, something like this. Now we need to add all these things in the sub view. So for simply adding this thing, we need to first add the back view, that is back view. Now we need to add all the things in back view dot add sub view, and in the sub view we need to add setting dot add sub view, and that is label, something like this. So our table view class is ready. Now we need to move to our view controller again. Now over here we need to just like define the some properties of table view in the viewDidLoad method over here. Just like table view data source delegate scrolling is enabled or not. So for that, table view dot is scrolling enable is equals to true, like this. Now table view dot delegate is equals to self. Now table view data source dot data source is equals to again self, like this. Now we need to register the cell class which we have created. So table view dot register. If you don't know what I'm doing right now, you please go and check out my previous video. In that video I've just teach each and everything regarding this programmatical table view. So the name of that class is custom table view cell, like this. Dot we need to define the self over here. Now the usable identifier is just like cell, simply like this. It will showing an error that we didn't define this table view data source and delegate. So for that, yeah, definitely it's not, we didn't define that thing. So now let's define the table view data source and delegate. So just create an extension just like a view controller, and in this we have to define UI table view data source, UI table view delegate, something like this. Now we have to define two more methods in this thing, so it's automatically not showing the thing. So the first method is self for row at index path, so self for row at index path, and the second method is the first method is number of cells, my mistake, number of cells, number of rows in section. And we need to define one more method, that is height for row at index path. So height for row at index path. So in this height for row index path, we have defined the height is 50 degree. As we know, we have already told you about this thing. Now number of rows, just like right now we are having a 5 rows, so I'm just returning 5, and now let's create one cell. So I'm just using guard statement, guard let cell is equals to table view dot dequeue cell with reusable identifiers, this one, and in this we have to define cell, and in this index path. So we have a reusable identifier the same as we have provided over here. So C is capital, so we need to provide a C capital over here like this, and it is of which kind? Custom table view cell type like this, else it will return or it will give a fatal error with a message that unable to dequeue cell, something like this. Now we need to get the cell dot label like this dot text. So for providing text in this label we need to have first be some array, and for the images in the uh, that listing we also need that images. So for that thing I'm already created that array, as well as I'm already having that images in my system. So just moving on the desktop, images, and in this I'm having a setting icons. So let's move to the assets, and over here we can go and check this thing like this. And for array I'm having this file in which I've already written down all the things for saving the time, and we have to define over here just like a setting array. So first just change this thing to setting array dot count like this. Now we have to get this thing to setting array, and over here index path dot row. For image we need to define cell dot image view dot image is equals to. Now over here first we have to define UI image. In this we have to define the name method, name parameter method, and in this string we have to again define the setting array index path dot row, and it is optional kind of a thing. Image is an optional thing, so we need to wrap this thing. Now we need to return the cell, something like this. So we are done with all the coding and all the stuff. Now let's check and run this thing. Now let's run and check this thing that it is working fine or not. So it's a very easy functionality if we have a little bit knowledge about table view and all these things. So our simulator is running. Now let's click on this menu. So it's working fine, but the images are not working correctly. So we need to check this thing that why images are not working correctly. So let's move to the cell class again and check that why images are not working correctly. Yes, so I found out the mistake that this is not an image view. This is a setting image which we have defined and name of the image view in this cell class, that is setting image. So we have used the image view over there. So that's the issue. Now let's run again and check that it is uh, coming now in the correct position or not. So like this. So it is completely looking cool as we have a demo. So let's move to the demo again. So this is a demo and it's looking same as we have in the we have created the functionality over here, this one. So it's completely same as we have a demo, and you can move this controller. When you press on any of the cell you can move this to the other controller also. Similarly we do a navigation from one controller to the another controller. The only thing which you have to keep in mind that you have to just dismiss this thing. Just call this method, call this dismiss method on click transparent view, and it will remove this thing from the super view. That's the only thing which you have to do. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you have any query or suggestion, please post that thing in the comment box. Thank you.